Hey T-Heads, this is Don from Mayleaf and I'm here to talk to you about our latest shipping updates. I know it's not the sexiest of topics, but I also know that shipping means a lot to many of you and it means a lot to us too. In fact, for well over a year, we have had the equivalent of 2 full-time staff working solidly on resolving shipping issues and bringing down costs. I know, that's what everyone wants to hear. So I wanted to discuss what we've been doing, and this video is going to be broken up into 2 parts. The first part is good news for all of our international clients, and the second part is specifically for our EU T-Heads post-Brexit. So firstly, for almost all of our international clients, you should have noticed over the last few months a fairly sizable drop to our shipping rates for standard post. On average, and it depends on the country and the shipment, but on average they've dropped somewhere in the region of around 20%. This is because of a couple of reasons. The first is that we have been negotiating extra hard with the postal services in the UK, and in July we finally managed to get a deal giving us the lowest rates possible. Of course, we will always go back to them probably in about a year or so to keep checking our costs, but I am confident that the costs that we have now are the lowest rates out there. The second reason is that we have designed a nifty little box splitter into our checkout. This means that parcels that are over 2 kilograms, which previously could only go with our courier post and not our standard post, can now be automatically split into different parcels to allow you to access quotes from the much cheaper standard service. This means that you may be seeing orders being sent to you in more than one package, but you'll be given tracking numbers for each box that we send to you. So that nifty little box splitter means that you can access cheaper rates of postage. So if you haven't been to the website for a while, then go check it out, and I hope that you notice a difference to your shipping costs. Quick sip of tea. This is King Plum. Right, moving on to the second part of this video for our EU clients. So other international clients may want to tune out now. All right, to all of our EU friends, wow, it has been a messy ride since Brexit in January, but finally things are looking a lot brighter. And I want to talk through the work that we've been doing so that you understand the shipping options available to you. But if you want to miss out on sort of the whole explanation, you can skip to this point and just watch a brief summary. I am not going to go into all of the messy details of the last 10 months because it would literally take me a few days to even give you the briefest outline of all that has happened, but I will simply say this. Yes, the double whammy of COVID and Brexit has hit all UK and EU postal services super hard, and I do have sympathy for everyone in the postal services out there. But, and it is a huge but, the level of incompetence and lack of preparedness that I've witnessed from postal services, couriers, customs authorities, and supposed specialist agents has left me dumbfounded. Over the past 10 months, on a weekly basis, me and my team have collectively held our heads in our hands and wondered if we were living in an alternate universe where logic and common sense was turned upside down. It has literally reached the point where we are having to teach the postal companies and EU customs authorities what the regulations are. And that is just madness. I mean, they are literally writing to us for advice. I could tell you stories which would make your eyes roll right to the back of your head, but I won't, because I want to get onto the good news and explain the new delivery options, including the, fanfare please, iOS scheme, which almost brings us back to pre-Brexit times. So here's a quick catch up for you. I'm going to quickly sip before I launch into this. So before Brexit, EU clients would have been charged the cost of the goods, your teaware, shipping charges, of course, and the sales tax, or VAT as it's called in the UK, and this sales tax would have been calculated according to UK rates. Then the package would have gone through a green channel when it crossed the border, as it was exempt from standard checks because we were all part of the EU. Immediately after Brexit, EU clients were essentially forced to use a DDU service. This stands for Delivered Duties Unpaid. This service means that you are charged the cost of the goods and the shipping charges by us. but we would no longer charge you the tax. Instead, that shipment would cross the border and would be stopped by your local customs to calculate your sales tax according to your own country's rates. And then they would try to collect that money from you before delivering. And for this inconvenience, they would not just delay you, but they would also charge you a handling fee, which would vary from country to country and depend upon which shipping option you picked, with courier handling fees being extra high. Now, sometimes they were illegally charging customs duties, which is in contravention of the UK-EU trade agreement, and you should never have been charged customs duties. We have been fighting on this for months, and thankfully we are not really seeing this happening anymore. So they finally realized that they should not do that. So you can see that the cost of the actual order should not have been significantly more after Brexit compared to before Brexit, but it was those maddeningly high and inconsistent handling fees which were driving us crazy, plus of course the delays as customs stopped all of the packages. Then in April 2021, UPS launched their DDP courier service for the EU. This allowed us to charge you everything at checkout before the parcel was sent, which meant that you would know exactly what you were paying at the time of order, and you should not have been bothered with the customs authorities asking for any extra payments. But the parcel would still be held up by the customs authorities. They would do that to calculate the charges, the sales taxes and the handling fees, but instead of charging you, they would charge the courier, who would then charge us for these payments in our monthly invoices. So that's great. It's a system which works and adds a bit of clarity for the clients out there. The problem with this system is that the UPS handling fees for DDP orders are very high. You've probably noticed this already. I mean, we're talking about, on average, around 30 to 35 euros handling fee. And this is because apart from all of the other handling charges, which they would charge anyway for DDU orders, for DDP orders, they were adding an extra deferment fee, which basically means that they're charging you an extra fee because they are paying these fees to the customs, to the EU authorities first, and then they're invoicing us afterwards. So there's a delay from them paying to the EU authorities and them getting the money from us. And so they're charging us for this delay, and that's called a deferment fee. And the deferment fee handling charge was so ridiculous, or is so ridiculous, that we even refused to charge the full amounts to our clients, and we have been paying some of that for you without you knowing it. So if you have used the DDP courier service, then you've been paying actually less than the full amount, and we've been contributing some of that money for you because we just could not swallow those handling fees, or we could not allow you to swallow those handling fees. So what about standard post, not courier? Don't they offer a DDP standard service, and is it cheaper? Well, the short answer to that question is yes. It is so much cheaper, with handling fees of just around a couple of euros. It is a great way to get your tea goodies. The problem is that the EU has been so crazy slow at rolling this service out. I mean, you would have thought that they would have made preparations for at least a year before, but as it stands today, there are a handful of EU countries who have officially launched their DDP standard services, but there are more coming online every single month. So if you want to see an up-to-date list of the countries who do accept DDP standard, then please check our shipping page online. I'll put a link in the description for you. Right, so finally we get to the really good news, and that is that iOS has launched in the EU. It actually launched in July, and we were the second UK company to send by iOS because we were actually enrolled in the beta tester scheme for iOS, but there have been quite a few teething problems with iOS, as some of you will know, which is why I did not want to talk about it until they had been resolved, and most countries are now up to speed. At present, I would say that about 95+% of iOS orders are going through smoothly. So what is iOS? It stands for International One-Stop Shop, and it basically allows us to roll back the clocks to an almost pre-Brexit situation. iOS means that for orders with goods under 150 euros, you will be paying for the goods. the shipping charges and the sales tax of your local country at our checkout, and that's it. There are no extra handling fees, and your order should speed through the green channel of your local customs because it is registered as an iOS parcel and therefore exempt. You see, it looks a lot like the situation before Brexit. The main difference is that the sales tax is charged at your country's rate instead of the UK rates, and there is a limit of 150 euros for this scheme. Bear in mind that that is 150 euros before any sales tax and shipping charges, so it is essentially the subtotal at the checkout. So the way that the iOS scheme works is that we have set up an intermediary agent in France. We collect the EU sales taxes from our clients at checkout, and then we report all of those taxes through an agent in the UK going to a French agent, which then reports it to the French authorities, and we pay the French authorities every single month. They then distribute those taxes to all of the individual EU countries. Obviously, this costs us much more money in terms of our time, in agents' fees and intermediaries to handle all of that reporting, but it means that you don't get hit with excessive handling charges and your parcels should reach you quicker. As I said, iOS is up and working for 95% of our orders. It's going through very, very smoothly. At the beginning, we had issues with different countries and different customs officials expecting the iOS information to be in different formats, but they seem to have mostly sorted this out and they've seemed to have trained their staff properly, and the iOS system seems to be running pretty smoothly. There are some exceptions. For example, Belgium won't allow tea to be sent via iOS because they have some special laws in Belgium for non-alcoholic drinks, but for pretty much the whole of the EU, iOS is working. Now, maybe this is all a bit confusing for you. Don't worry, I understand. I've been working on it for 10 months, so I'm a bit clearer. But the good news is that we have programmed the website to make your decisions much easier. So let's head over there and I can show you. Okay, so here we are at the Mayleaf Checkout, and you can see that I'm pretending that I'm living in Germany, and I've got a cake of Chime Gatherer Pur here. The subtotal here in euros is less than 150 euros. So this is the line that you need to be looking for as to whether or not your order qualifies for iOS. Because it's under 150 euros and I live in an EU country, it tells me that this order is iOS qualified. So you can see here that the tax has already been added. So this is VAT tax according to German rates. And I can select either standard post or courier. Both of them accept iOS. So you can see here if I check standard post, the tax will go up slightly because we have to charge sales tax on the postage as well. So that's why you see a little jump here. And that's everything. So you won't be charged any handling fees. That is the total cost. And you can see that that is pretty much exactly as it was before Brexit. But what happens if I add another cake of Chime Gatherer? So now I'm over the 150 euros mark. The system will recognize that this is no longer an iOS qualified order, and you can see that iOS block has disappeared. Now, I can still choose between courier and standard post, and the delivery duty paid DDP is ticked on. So Germany has DDP standard and DDP courier. You can see both of them have the tick. I can, of course, choose to switch it off, in which case I will get a little warning here saying that we recommend that you don't do this. But I can always switch to DDU. We don't recommend that. You can see if I switch off DDP and we go to a DDU service, there are no taxes being charged because they're going to be collected by your local customs when they deliver it to you. So you will incur some delays and they will ask for payment. So we highly recommend that you keep DDP turned on, and it will pretty much default to being turned on. So there you go. Germany has standard DDP, so if I was over 150 euros, then I would just default back to standard post DDP. Again, it's pretty much the same as iOS, except that you are going to be charged a bit more in terms of handling fees for it, and there might be a little bit more delay as the parcel is going to be stopped and they're going to calculate the taxes in order to charge the postal company, who then charge us. But if you are ordering over 150 euros and you live in a country that has standard DDP available, then I would recommend that you do this: standard post and DDP. Now, what happens if I change my country so that I am now, for example, living in Estonia? So I'm going to update that. And I'm going to show you what it looks like if I have an iOS order. So I'm just going to take this back down to one cake so that we're under 150 euros subtotal. So under 150 euros subtotal, you can see here that it says it's iOS qualified. You can pick standard post or you can pick courier, and it's exactly the same as with the German order. You can send it via standard post. There are no handling fees. The tax is calculated for you, and you should not be charged any extra fees or taxes, and it should get to you much quicker because it's going through that green channel. But things get a little bit more complicated when I go over 150 euros. So now I'm over 150 euros. The system recognizes that it's no longer iOS qualified. Now I have the choice of using standard post, and this will be a DDU post because standard DDP is not available in Estonia, and it will give you this warning: customs in your country may demand taxes and fees be paid prior to releasing your order. The reason I write may is because sometimes it does get through, but most of the time it won't. You can, of course, choose standard courier that has a DDP because our courier services offer DDP to all EU countries, but you can see here how high the handling fees are for courier DDP. And so how would I advise you to get around this? Well, let's look at this total here, 251 euros. So let's remember that. Now, if I were you, I would do two iOS orders. So remember, it was 251 before. Now I'm going to put this to standard post. So if I sent the two orders via iOS, so I just did two separate orders via standard post, it would come up to about 240. So I'm actually saving money, about 10 or so euros, a little bit more than 10 euros. I'm saving, and my orders are going to go through iOS, which means that they're going to go through the green channel, which means that you're going to get less delays, and it should arrive to you quicker. So if I was in a country that does not offer standard DDP, so DDP standard post, then I would split the order into multiple orders that do qualify for iOS, and that way I'll save money and take advantage of the green channel that iOS provides. If I live in a country where, like Germany, then I wouldn't worry about splitting the order. I would just use standard post DDP like I showed you before. I hope that this makes sense. I know it can get a little bit difficult to get your head around, but play around with our checkout, and please do email us if you have any questions. Right, so let's quickly wrap all of this up with a brief summary of all of the shipping options available to our EU T-heads out there. So the first is DDU, Delivered Duties Unpaid. This is the most basic option, and we would not recommend you using it. It basically means that the order will be held by your local customs authorities, and you will have to deal with the extra delays and pay sales taxes and handling fees in order to release the parcel and get it delivered to you. We do not advise you use a DDU service unless you absolutely have to. The second is DDP, Delivered Duties Paid. This is the second option, and it is great because you pay all of your sales taxes and handling fees at the time of checkout, and you don't get any requests for further payments by your local customs. All EU countries have DDP courier available, but the handling charges on the courier DDP service are really, really high. Some EU countries have DDP standard available, and that is far and away the better choice because it has very low handling fees and lower shipping costs. The list of EU countries offering DDP standard is currently quite small, but it's growing every month, and I'll put a link to our frequently asked questions page in the description below, and you can check out which countries are offering this service. And then the third option is iOS, and this is available in nearly all EU countries and is absolutely the best option for orders under 150 euros. You pay for the goods, you pay for the shipping charges and sales tax at the website checkout, and you do not pay any handling fees, and your goodies get sent through a green channel, which should speed things up significantly. It is basically like buying before Brexit. The website has been designed to make life easier for you while showing you all of the available options. If your order does not qualify for iOS because it's over 150 euros or your country for some reason does not support iOS, then the website will show you which shipping options are available to you and automatically tick the DDP service. You will know if DDP standard is available in your country because you will see that little DDP switch turned on when you select the standard post. You can always untick DDP and choose a DDU service, but again, we would advise you not to because you will just have to pay those fees and taxes to your local customs when the package arrives, and this will cause delays and unforeseen expenses. One last thing to consider is if your order is over 150 euros, so that it does not qualify for iOS, we would advise you to use the DDP standard if it's available in your country. But if you only have DDP courier available, then you may want to split the order into 2 or 3 orders under 150 euros. This will give you the advantage of sending those split orders via iOS, and it will probably cost the same. Actually, it will probably work out to be cheaper for you. So if you have an order over 150 euros and you don't have DDP standard available for you, so you've only got DDP courier available for you, then I would recommend that you actually place 2 orders, split it so that it's under 150 euros for each order. That way it'll go via a cheaper postal service and it will go through via iOS, so it won't get the delays and it will work out cheaper for you anyway because those UPS DDP handling fees are so big. A quick disclaimer, let me just drink. Lubricate my throat a little bit. So a quick disclaimer, all of the information that I've given covers most EU clients and is how EU law should be applied. There are some exceptions to the rules and there are still some postal services and customs authorities which are unfortunately maddeningly making mistakes. So we cannot guarantee that every single parcel will be handled correctly by these services, and we will of course continue to chase any issues to try to resolve any errors so that they can learn from their mistakes and you can get your tea. I hope that this video gives you a clear understanding of the shipping options available and we can finally celebrate some good news about shipping. That's it, tea heads. Check out our other videos, taste our teas wherever you are in the world by browsing mayleaf.com, and come visit us if you're ever in London. Other than that, I'm Don from Mayleaf. Thank you for being a part of the revelation of true tea. Stay away from those tea bags. Keep drinking the good stuff and spread the word because nobody deserves bad tea. Bye.